right, Sean Zattel here with the only man to knock out Sebastian Fundora and beat him. Former WBC interim super welterweight champ Ryan Mendoza fighting Yoenis Tellez, former world champion, on the co-main event Saturday night, man. First of all, was that true? Were you giving Keith Thurman cheat codes at the press conference? Or
No, like we were chatting a little bit before, just kind of things that he's using the same sparring partner, Mike Fox, that I use.
Right.
And
Michael Fox, my bad.
Yeah, he was really, he's kind of saying the right things, you know. So it's kind of that you know that he worked on with Mike, and just little things like that. So I'm like I've been saying, you know, on my interviews that I think Thurman's a really dangerous stylistic matchup for Fundora, and I think this one, especially from what I'm hearing, you know, from his sparring, that because Mike Fox is a way better boxer than Fundora, like all day. It's very hard to hit Mike. You have to kind of chase him, and you can't even trap him. It's like he's very difficult. And in my sparring with him, I always knew, like, if I'm catching Mike with these shots, I know I'm going to catch Fundora with him. And, you know, that was my thing. So I know it kind of sounds, you know, like Thurman, you know, was kind of figuring things out height-wise and just difficulty-wise with it. And he's just, I'm kind of hearing the right things. So I feel like he might, you know, get the job done. I'm still kind of leaning towards Fundora because the only thing that makes me hesitate on that is that we have to see if Thurman can still be young. You know, every time he fights, we're like, okay, the ring rust, he's going to look old, and he does it. You know, he comes back sharp, he looks rested, if anything. So as long as he's not old, I think he's a very dangerous style for Fundora.
So let me get it right. Mike is reporting back to you good things about Thurman that's making that increases his chances in your eyes from what you're being told out of camp.
Yeah, I talked to Mike a little bit, but even just now when I was talking to Thurman's just saying the right things, you know, like that he was looking for certain things, that he's seeing, you know, certain flaws in Fundora that I also saw. So it's just little things like that where I'm like, okay, this guy kind of has the right idea, because people just fall in love with the height or like focus on a little too much, and then that's kind of their downfall. But Thurman, I feel like, has the right mindset.
You could tell he studied him front to back. Like, he knows everything he does well and wrong, right? How much can that help a fighter? Because some fighters, they don't watch tape. They're like,
what are you doing?
Yes,
sir.
He told me he was going to do it before he done it, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
I do it again. Want to do something more Saturday night.
Let's get it.
because, you know, a lot of fighters will say, I'm not going to watch tape, or at the very least my coach will watch the tape and I'll just adjust when I get in there. But do you think that's good for Thurman that he has studied him so studiously?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I've kind of been back and forth. I've had the issue of, you know, not studying my opponent too much and, you know, let my trainer kind of do that and tell me what to do. But, you know, over time I've just kind of learned that. So I do try to study a little more, and I do think it's crucially important because, you know, I've studied guys like John Jones, even, where he talks about that he's film studies his opponent so much, like he knows which step he's going to take, what favorite, you know, first move he does, what, like, every little habit they have. And I do think that makes a difference, because in the fight, even though they can come different on fight night, it helps, you know, because you're going to be used to, you know, certain movements that you can't just fix and one can't, or something like that. So it does make a big difference, and I do think it's going to help Thurman.
How do you think Thurman at 54's punch and power matches up with your own?
I still think I'm one of the biggest punchers in the division, so that's yet to see, but this is a perfect measuring stick. He's about to fight the same guy, and I do think Thurman still has power. You know, the level of power he had at 47, I do think he can carry it with him. So we're about to find out. I think this is a perfect measuring stick.
Do you think Fundora'S improvement has been overstated?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because even just now when he made Sue quit, which huge props to Fundora for that, Sue was still cracking him with really big shots. People seem to ignore that just because of the stoppage or the retirement, I guess. People don't seem to see that. Sue just doesn't have one-punch knockout power. Sue is the type of guy that kind of breaks you down over the rounds or something like that. He's more about sort of a steady pressure, just chopping you down, if anything.
And he was really applying that. He was trying to implement a game plan more like what you did, and that's not really his style, right?
Exactly. Like, he did land really similar shots to what I landed, but he doesn't have the power that I have for that one shot. Like I said, you know, he's the guy that needs to break you down more, and I guess he felt like he couldn't get it done in that fight. But the point is, Fundora was still getting caught with, you know, some really big shots that, like, say, if I land those same shots again, he's going to sleep. If Thurman lands those, it could be a big problem.
Well, the word is that he uses his length better now. Like, he reached for the uppercut when you're not. So you can see that he does.
Absolutely, he's gotten better, but it's a 12-round fight, And I know, like, I'm sure he's still been working on it, but he still gives it away. He likes to fight, and props to him for that, you know, because he could kind of skate away with kind of just jabbing from the other corner, basically, you know, for the 12 rounds. But he does fall back into that fight, and we have to see how much he can really improve on that, because there's certain habits that, you know, just kind of stick with you.
You know, Thurman, like you said, man, he's saying all the right things. He's on fire when it comes to the projection of his psychology heading into this fight. And I know Fundora'S not a talker. He's a stoic guy. Is he coming in a little too subdued, you think? Or do you not? No, it's just same old Fundora as you're always going to get.
It could be. I feel like with me, that's actually something I did take into account. I felt like they just really overlooked me also. And who knows? I don't think you look over a guy like Thurman. So maybe, but I feel like, you know, his confidence in himself can sometimes work against him, because it's just, I don't know. Like, I do kind of see what you're saying about a little too subdued. It could be possible, but
I think he's gonna win. Like, it's not me. But I'm just reading. You get to fight week and you see things in fighters.
Right. Oh no, yeah, you could definitely read a fighter a lot on fight week, but with him, it is hard to tell because he's usually stoic anyway. But I don't think you look over a guy like Thurman, so I'm not expecting too much of that.
One thing that did get him a little animated is when we brought you up, and when we were talking to him, and he's like, I still want that rematch. He's like, well, why didn't Mendoza do the rematch when we wanted the rematch? He's like, why is the guy who won the fight pushing for the rematch more than the guy who lost the fight? I think what he's getting at is now you want to fight because I have it going on. I'm a world champion. I have things going good.
Yeah.
And you point being, when he wanted the rematch, you didn't want to do it. And what do you think of all that?
I never didn't want the rematch. I got offered to fight for another full title in Australia. Yeah.
Right. Which is what he noted. Right?
Yeah. Whoever's watching this, if you're going to try to critique that, if you just got the knockout of the year and the guy wants to fight you again, or you picked up his world title, or you have the chance to go pick up a second world title immediately, I'm gonna go for the world title. Travel across the world. I fought in Australia for that, and we didn't get the win there, but I'm obviously chasing bigger and better goals. I just slept you. Why do I desperately need the rematch right now? Even now, I don't care about the rematch. I care about the titles he has. If Thurman beats him, I'd never care about Fundora again. So, yeah, just kind of being blunt. I want the belts. Like, the reason I'm pushing for it is because he has the belts. And I feel like as a man, you would want to fix that blemish, especially if I was so easy. Like he's saying, he was winning rounds and this and that. It feels so easy. I felt like it could have been done already. But, regardless, like I'm saying, no hate to Fundora with it. I want the belts. And if he loses those belts, then I also don't care about the rematch.
Do you think it was at all, maybe even for him, if not you, a little awkward up there when you go to the podium and there's that former rival sitting right there? And because a lot of old school fighters in your position to promote themselves and promote the fight would have. Oh, and by the way, I want to say something to him too and get a little greasy with it. But that's not you. That's not you, but yeah.
Exactly, man. It's something I try to bring out, but I feel like it's corny when people
force it.
Yeah, when they force it, you can always tell. Like all the McGregor copies we've gotten over the years, the Mayweather copies. So it's hard for me. I try to do it as natural as possible. Like even a little bit of shit I talked in this video, it's more just me actually talking instead of trying to put on a persona.
Yeah.
The persona is difficult for me, but he knows what it is. I'm with one of the best in the game with Yoenis Tellez Jr. He's with Samson. It's very easy to get these fights made, and I don't really have to talk my way into it. I've earned it the way I put him to sleep, and from there, as long as he's got those belts, that rematch is on the table, and everybody, man, that knockout video still goes constantly viral. So I know he hasn't forgotten about it, and it is what it is, man.
Lastly, Brian, I've talked to you a lot about Fundora, and all this, but Yoenis Tellez is the fighter you are facing Saturday night, man. And you've always been a talented fighter with power and athleticism, and you've shown what you're capable of in the Fundora fight. But I feel like that's not always the Brian Mendoza who puts it all together we get, and sometimes. Hey, it's easy from where I'm sitting, right? But sometimes you don't always let your hands go at the level that makes you the most dangerous. And I know it's easier said than done.
Right.
But how confident are you that you handle your business against Tellez so you can get to the big fights that you've already shown you can win before?
Yeah, I feel like the experience is going to make the change, the difference in this fight. And yeah, some of the fights I wasn't able to let my hands go as much because some of these short notice fights, to be honest, I wasn't fully prepared for. I was just my power sometimes can carry me through stuff, and I did fall in love with it a little too much over the last few years just because I'm getting knockouts at the top level, which is something that doesn't usually happen. So it was kind of easy to fall into that, but
For one shot at a time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I've been with Richard Barrientos for about like a year and a half now, a little over a year. So we're working a lot of drills, bringing my IQ back, letting my hands go, winning rounds as we go along the way. And you guys are going to see a lot smarter of a fighter. I still want knockouts. I still want to sleep my opponent every time. But I feel like you're going to see me put it all together. That's kind of what I'm excited for this fight. I feel like it's a perfect opportunity to show just that.
Is this a stoppage against Yoenis Tellez Saturday?
I believe so. I don't think it goes a decision, but he is durable. So
yeah.
If it does go a decision, it's going to be lopsided my way. But regardless, we win, and Brian Mendoza moves on to bigger, better things.
All right, thanks, brother, because there's definitely bigger things out there for you if you win
Yes,
this
sir.
fight. So.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Have a good fight.
Ready.